Have the floor for 5 minutes.
Thanks very much. Profits are, business is booming. Profits are coming in record numbers. And Mr. LaFleche, you are proactively reaching out to your competitors to say, when can we cut pandemic wages? Are you going to be cutting them? Because I'm really interested in knowing when you're going to cut them. Is that fair? That's a fair characterization of the
No,
call?
it's not the way. That's not the way I presented it. That's not the way I look at it. That's not the way I approach it. No, with all due respect, again, I disagree with that.
I'll leave the remainder of those kinds of questions to the Competition Bureau. So I'll ask, how much did each of you earn total compensation in 2019? Ms. Davis?
I think the information that's in our proxy circular is around $6.8 million.
Mr. LaFleche?
Again, it's public information. You can look up the proxy. I don't think it's the subject of today's hearing and questioning. So
you know it, but you're just not answering my question?
Well, I earn a good living. I have nothing to hide. I'm proud of what I pay. I think I earn what I got. So.
If you were proud of what you earned, you would say it. Mr. Medline?
Not to the right number. You'd have to check the proxy, but it's around 5, I think, including grants of long-term compensation.
And we can expect, Mr. LaFleche, that it's in the neighborhood of your colleagues. Is that fair?
It is, yeah. It's in that neighborhood.
Now, Ms. Davis and Mr. LaFleche and Mr. Medline was less clear about his belief in a progressive living wage, but Ms. Davis and Mr. Medline or Mr. LaFleche, you've each said you believe in a progressive living wage. Now, we've been told by union members that 90% of essential frontline workers are part-time. They don't receive fixed schedules. They don't receive full benefits. They are critical to our national food security, but many face food insecurity themselves because of a lack of a living, meaningful, progressive minimum wage. Now, when a company earns record profits, when you are individually earning millions of dollars, when the risk and anxiety that persists among your essential workers has not gone away, how can you in good conscience put profits before people in a pandemic? Ms. Davis?
As I highlighted a couple of times, our profits, we are not putting profits ahead of our people. We put in tens of millions of dollars for safety precautions in our stores. I think we publicly said in our Q1 call that we did see some buying up in Q1, but we would see large costs that would come into our Q2.
And Mr. Medline, you have indicated that all resources have been put into your teammates. Your company has described them as family members. Describe the recent increase to shareholder dividend and how that accords with what you've described to this committee in relation to putting all of the resources into your teammates, family members, and your essential workers.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of stakeholders. We have to do everything we can for our teammates. We put every penny we could and every effort we could into safety and health of our teammates. In fact, in many cases, I was on a call with the Chinese and Italian grocers early on in the pandemic, heard about plexiglass, put plexiglass in without knowing how much it was going to cost. In terms of why we pay dividends, it's because ordinary Canadians count on those dividends to retire, to put their kids through school. So there's a balance, but teammates, as you said, you quoted me there, are so important.
So correct me if I'm wrong, you paid just over $100 million in pandemic pay and additional pay. What's the number represented by the increase in shareholder payout?
The increase in shareholder payout. Are you talking about
the increase in dividends?
Oh, the increase in dividends was 4 cents per quarter. I'd have to do the math. I'll send it to your office.
Is it above? Is it? When we talk about putting profits before people or people before profits, we've cut pandemic pay and we've paid out to shareholders, profits to shareholders. Do you still think you're putting people before profits?
Yes, the increase in dividends was far below the pandemic hero pay. And by the way, I don't think that was appreciation. That was scary for people to go to work. And whoever it was, one of the MPs cited going in the store, I think it was Mr. Massey. Like you saw the people in the stores and we didn't know what was going to happen. So we did it for a number of reasons.
Ms. Davis, Target recently announced $15 an hour wages for minimum for their employees, American. Dollarama here in Canada has extended its own pandemic pay until the end of August. Lowe's has extended pandemic pay. Loblaw, chairman, you, making millions of dollars, believe in a progressive living wage. How do you explain this? I mean, we heard hypocrisy from Mr. Dias. How do you explain this personal belief of yours and Mr. Weston when other companies are able to do this and you've decided not to?
Well, I think there's two questions that you're doing here, and it does look like we're out of time. I don't know if you want me to answer or not.
Is there an
We'll let you
answer?
answer. We'll let you answer.
Okay, so there's two things we're talking about here. One is the pandemic pay premium, which was put in place on a temporary basis, and it was communicated that way to all of our colleagues. The second is about minimum wage and the living wage, and as I highlighted in my opening remarks, I do believe that that is a conversation that is more than just for one company or one industry to do on its own. I really do think that is something that we need to work with the government on. I think that is the the decision that I've mentioned and that we need to work on together.
Thanks for your time. Force us to do what we already believe in. I appreciate it. Take care.